You've been to my events, I've got a standard spiel at the very beginning. I'm like, we welcome our DEC members. If you're not a DEC member yet, let me convince you, your next job, prospect, client, maybe even best friend is right here in this room. If you want to get involved, just join the club and great things happen. So it's funny because I have people repeat that to me now because they say to me,
I was going to try.
They say to me, I did, by coming to the DEC, becoming a member, I did gain a prospect. I did gain a client. I did get a new job. I do have a best friend now. And all those things have happened. And like I said earlier, I can give you a million stories of all of those things, person by person.
Welcome to the Cashflow Chronicles Open Forum. I'm Matt Allison, a commercial insurance advisor helping businesses protect their cash flow by managing risk and putting the right protections in place.
And I'm Brad Metzger, a commercial lender specializing in finance solutions. From lines of credit and term loans to real estate mortgages, I'm here to help businesses grow and stay flexible.
This podcast is a community-driven conversation for CFOs, finance leaders, and business owners who want real insight into cash flow, credit, and financial resilience.
We keep it practical, collaborative, and to the point.
Powerful finance conversations in under 40 minutes, built for busy professionals. This is the Cashflow Chronicles Open Forum. We have some pretty amazing things going on here in Michigan. More importantly, the Detroit Economic Club represents something highly unique to the city of Detroit with a long-standing history, including bringing in high dignitaries like President Donald Trump and many other executives of leading corporations. It was a thrill to have Steve Gregorian join us on this latest episode to talk about what exactly the Detroit Economic Club represents, not only for personal development, but also for organizations. Hopefully you guys enjoy the episode.
Steve, thanks so much for joining us on the Cashflow Chronicles. In my opinion, greatest people in the Metro Detroit community. You're a blessing to everyone with what you're doing with the Detroit Economic Club.
So let me stop. Thank you for having me, and you need to raise your standards.
Which is why you're a blessing, because you're a humble individual that has accomplished a lot with the Detroit Economic Club.
Thank you.
I guess just opening up, what does the Detroit Economic Club do? The depth of the programs?
We're a business membership organization, easiest way to understand it. We've got about 3,000 members, and our mission is to engage the debate and discussion of today's business, government, and social issues. So to do that, our primary product, if you will, is about 20 lunch events per year where we bring in thought leaders from all over the country. That could go anywhere from U.S. presidents to cabinet members to Fortune 100 CEOs. Founded in 1934, actually a really interesting story. There was a gentleman, and think about the year 1934. It's a few years coming out of the Great Depression. And so he had this idea of once a month, getting Detroit business leaders together to try to jumpstart the city of Detroit, which was still trying to figure its way out of the Great Depression. So they would meet once a month and just come up with ideas. And then after a few months or a year, one of them said, I've got a good friend who's a businessman in the city of Chicago. They're going through the same stuff. They've got some ideas that worked. What if I could bring him into our meeting? Is that okay? It's just our little Detroit gang, but they said, sure, if he would travel. This is 1934, so you're traveling by train.
Long trip.
Yeah, it's a long trip. And so he came, and that started then opening up their world to other cities and other business leaders around the world. And so way back in the day, even until the 1970s, the meetings were on Mondays because people would travel by train over the weekends, do their event on Monday with the Detroit Economic Club, and then take the train back. So then they'd be back in their office by Tuesday, Wednesday. Think about that. Otherwise, if you're leaving on a Monday, Tuesday, you're doing an event Wednesday, you're traveling back Thursday, Friday, you've wiped out your whole week.
That's one of the reasons why we vote on Tuesdays. It's because it allowed people to travel to the voting stations.
I never knew that.
To do it, yeah.
There we go.
That's a factoid.
Farm time.
Again,
that makes sense.
With
Yeah.
daylight savings, when did daylight savings start, and what was the reason behind it?
That was agricultural related.
Yeah.
Is
I
that
thought it was to keep people happy, right? See
Golfers.
Golfers. Golfers who see more sunlight.
Nothing better than teeing off in June at 7:30 at night, knowing I can get 9 holes in.
let's be honest, let's golf right now in the snow. We can figure it out.
I'll pass.
Go ahead, yeah. Have fun with that.
Let's talk about you within the DEC. Like, what had you get involved with the DEC? Is there a backstory to where you took over the organization?
Yeah, so actually, kind of a magical story that I don't tell too often, but I'll give you the top of the wave story. I had worked for another company for about 20 years. That ended, and I decided I wanted to reinvent myself. I had sales pressure, sales quotas. I'd had that for a lot of years. I was also director of marketing nationally, and I said, I just want to maybe do something different. So I interviewed, I turned down a few jobs, and about 8 months later, so I'm sitting in a recruiter's office. I'm starting now to get a bit nervous because I'm not finding what I really wanted to do. And I'm in a recruiter's office, probably pretty angry at the world. I'm sitting, my body language was probably like this, waiting to be called back. And I look over, and on top of the coffee table was a stack of magazines. And there was a magazine, and I recognized the lady on top of the magazine, standing shoulder to shoulder with Dieter Zetsche, who was the CEO of Chrysler. I'm like, where do I know that lady from? So I grabbed the top of the magazine, and I'm like, who is this lady? I'm like, oh, I remember her. At the time, I was the president of our Little League. And I remember at the 11th hour before the season started, we had a manager that quit, and I had to find another manager. And I was literally calling anybody on that team. She answered. I told her what the dilemma was. She said, I'll take the team. So I met her through Little League. And as it turned out, it was Beth Chappell, the president and CEO of the Detroit Economic Club. I didn't know who she was. And my old job, I traveled all over the U.S. I was never in Detroit, so I never knew much about the DEC. I never once ever attended any of the events. So I asked her, I emailed her, I had her email from baseball, managing. And I said, hey, would you ever just meet with me? I kind of want to just talk through, what a reinvention looks like. She knows this because I've told her all the time. She canceled 7 different coffee meetings with me until my wife said, okay, what are we doing here? And she said, what about that one lady? I'm like, she's blown me off 7 times. Well, you better try it 8 times. So I did, and Beth said, I'll give you 20 minutes. I'll meet you at a coffee place in downtown Birmingham. We clicked at the counter before we ever sat down, and 20 minutes turned into a 3-hour meeting. And at the end of the 3-hour meeting, she said, well, Steve, I already know your next job, and I already know your next boss. I'm like, what are you talking about? You come to work for me. I need someone that's got your skill set. I haven't even put that job description down on paper yet. But let's go. So that's how this turned into, just give me 6 months. I need you to work on A, B, and C, and you can use that opportunity to build your network and find your next job. Well, here I am 22 years later.
That's why it's always, when somebody invites you to something, a lot of times it's like, just go. You never know what it may turn into. You never know.
Of course.
I think that builds off, this is the conversation I've been having in the world of AI and automation, things like that. If you put yourself in a room, can you read a room? Can you connect with individuals? And as you said, once you're able to connect with her, you talk for 3 hours, it's like a 20-minute conversation, and and you have a 20-year career where you've accomplished immense results. And I tell everyone, just get in the marketplace. Don't sell, just listen. And be a go-giver, very cliche, but it's quite a valuable lesson that I learned early in my career. It's like, just make yourself available.
Yeah.
And you don't know what's going to happen.
Well, my success is not just me. I've got a fantastic team of people. I always have had, and the current team is spectacular right now. But I joke with them whenever I have one-on-one meetings with them in my office. At the end of it, I say, all right, now get out and stay out. We're, chuckle, laughing. That's kind of my trademark saying, whatever. But I mean that when I talk to younger people. I'm like, you got to get out and meet people and talk to people and build relationships, because that's what makes things happen. You can't do Zooms. You can't sit behind your desk. You can't, sit in your sweatpants. Pandemic, caused a lot of the work from home stuff, and people got into bad habits of just staying at home, but you got to get out and do stuff.
I think that's vital. Before we were recording, we were just talking about that. It's even with this podcast, just listening to the guests we have, it's like we learn so much and how it reverberates in the marketplace. I know, Brad, you mentioned it's like just listening to people, and that's the amount of information you learn, and you can bring insight, whether it be in a sales call or anything like that.
It's providing value, right? So I have
100%.
customers, and a lot of the customers overlap, right? I have a supplier that does metal for manufacturing. Well, it's related, right? So if they're seeing a rise in cost, how is that going to affect that manufacturer? So it's great to be able to share that insight to my customers to provide value. But again, if you're not out talking to your customers or talking to people, you can't make a connection. And my favorite thing is to connect my customers together. And that's one of the things. It's always helping, having communication to help your people, help your team, help your customers.
I always tell my clients or new prospects, as it's talked about, I want to introduce myself and my network to you. It's like, what do you need? I can introduce you to this person, this person, this person. They're all trusted people. I vetted them as good people. Like, I'm a firm believer in that. So, and that's critical as far as what the DEC does too, because you provide that facility for people to network.
So there's two reasons people join the club, and it's clearly survey after survey after survey. We do customer surveys all the time because we want to make sure we know why they're joining, are we providing value, but clearly for a lot of years, they join for two reasons. They want to build their network with like-minded people in the region, A, and then B, they want to hear from the quality and kind of thought leaders that we bring on stage. And Brad, you talked about connecting. It is really cool when you feel good when you can connect two people and you learn later that they're doing business together. They've had a coffee meeting together. They're playing golf together. I can give you a million different stories of people that have met at the DEC that are doing all of those. I love the, I call it the off the court stuff. There's a couple guys that met as part of our Career Readiness Academy high school mentorship program, and they were on the same team together. They never knew each other. Here they are 2 years after that, both standing up in each other's weddings. They clicked, they connected. That's awesome. That much. You want to go really extreme. This is a long time ago, but I think 2006, 2007. I forgot who it was. We had a speaker, a political speaker in from DC, and two people were randomly seated at a table next to each other, clearly opposing political views, got into a friendly argument over lunch about politics. 18 months later, they're married. They're married. So, I mean, that's extreme. So, but that's the off the court stuff. That's really fun.
Well, they learned how to communicate. You think
it's a perfect balance, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool too. We talked about, because you've had some quite amazing guests coming. I mean, Donald Trump, the head of U.S. Steel. And I reference this to my parents all the time. I'm like, I just sat right in front of the president and CEO of U.S. Steel right before they're about to sell the Nippon. I'm like, how do you get these people to come?
Yeah. So we've got a really good reputation in Washington, D.C., and also in the corporate community. They talk. The CEOs talk, and their corporate communication teams talk. But we regularly send out invitations. And then I've got a great board, 90 people on my board, and sometimes I will ask them for some help, particularly when we get into the presidential or cabinet member level. We've got a couple people, both on the Democratic side and the Republican side, that are board members of the DEC that can help us reach out to some people.
Again, that's the power of the network.
Yeah.
And no matter the title of somebody, if you're Donald Trump, he's still just a normal guy.
People said, "Did you get to meet Trump?" Yes, I got to meet Trump a few times. It's actually this. So we hosted him in October of 2024, but we had also hosted him in 2016. So I got to meet him twice. Completely different experiences. In 2016, I'll never forget. We're at that time, I still think it was called Kobo. We're in the loading dock waiting for the freight elevator, and up comes the freight elevator, and the door opens. He is surrounded by 50 people, literally. And I'm not just talking security. These are advisors in his ear, and the whole pack is moving. And we're like, what is happening? Fast forward 8 years, October 2024, 3 people get off the elevator with him. Like, okay, things have changed.
That's crazy, and it puts you in the head of that role. How many people are in trying to get in his ear at all times? And the fact you can get him into Detroit. Clearly, he's a polarizing figure. And when he came, what he had said about Detroit this past time, it's like, what is he saying? Remember that he had like a hot take that everyone was saying. What did he say about Detroit? That was all negative.
He bashed Detroit. He did bash Detroit, and he actually went on and continued to bash Detroit in Chicago and Atlanta too.
Oh, really? I didn't.
Well, at least it was common, right?
Yes.
That's a common theme. And I think even with Donald Trump or any other politician on the other side, because you have a very strict rule. We don't talk politics, polarizing topics. We're very focused on the general goal for the betterment of the population. Is that correct? You have
We're nonpartisan, but I tried just as hard to get both parties when the invites go out. So in October 2024, yes, we hosted Trump. I was working just as hard concurrently to get Kamala Harris to the DEC at the same time. He said yes, she said no. And so, of course, you announce that we've got Trump coming, and we get all kinds of emails and phone calls, and you guys are idiots. What are you doing bringing this guy here? If I would have done, announced Kamala coming, we would have had the other side going, you guys are idiots. What are you doing bringing her here? And I don't respond to that stuff, but I just tell my team we're doing our job. People can vote with a ticket sale, and if they don't like to hear the speaker, they don't have to come.
And I think that's important. We're providing a forum. You have your opinions. We're just a forum, and that's all it really is. So, and the attendance for that event, oh my God, he's coming. So just the fact you have a former president to come in. Politics aside, who are some guests that you've had to the DEC where you're just amazed at their presence in the marketplace?
I get asked that a lot because, do the math, 21 years and 20 to 25 speakers every year. It's a lot of speakers I've heard. You never like to pick a favorite, but I do have one, and that is Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan Chase. He's visited us, I think, 3 times, but the last time, September 2023, he was incredible. And he is so connected. He is so informed. He reads like 7 newspapers a day before he starts his business day. He travels all over the world. He knows what's going on in the world of business, in the world of politics. Even when he was helping the mayor here in fact, the mayor just told the story on our stage a couple days ago, when they created some special loans for Detroit home buyers. When he would come in, he wanted to go to walk through somebody's home in Detroit that had purchased with one of their mortgages. And Mayor said, Jamie Dimon's sitting and talking interior decorating with the homeowner, but he was fabulous. And he's also, he's opinionated, but he's not afraid to say what's on his mind. And people really enjoyed that. So he was probably my favorite. It's not recency bias because I think enough time has passed now, September 2023.
And
I can give you another one.
Go ahead. Of the many.
So I'm a huge sports fan, a huge baseball fan. That's one thing the DEC members enjoy is, yes, we bring government figures in, we bring CEOs in to talk about serious business topics, but we're a sports crazed town, and anytime we do anything sports related at the DEC, we pack the house. Well, so go back to 2006, 2007 maybe. We had Jim Leland, who was the Detroit Tigers manager.
Right in the middle of the playoff run.
Yeah, I forgot when.
before.
It was probably earlier in the season.
Okay.
But we put a player at every table, and Jim Leland's, it's his first time with us. And I was the COO at the time. And I remember we're eating lunch, and somebody said to me, geez, Jim Leland, he's just like heads down and really not talkative and seems kind of grumpy. I hope he's going to be okay when he gets to the microphone. Have you ever seen Jim Leland talk? Stand-up comic, hilarious, amazing personality, and had the place in stitches. So I'll never forget that.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, you're trying to read the body language, and once he has the room, who is this guy?
Yeah.
And name, I laugh about this because my cousin, he grows up, he lives in Traverse City. He's like, oh, I met so-and-so, I got their autograph. I'm like, they're normal people. And as noted by this, like with your sports events, you can meet the players in some framework. It's not like they're these unreachable individuals. It's a way to get to know them as people. The Red Wings and the Tigers events, any sport event, it's pretty amazing to go to those events.
It's really fun. It's fun.
Remember Moritz Sider was talking about, he's like talking about, well, I think I'm a star. I'm not just, I remember he talked about that. It was pretty funny.
Those are fun.
When this is before Lalonde was released from Detroit, but it was a very fun experience. So within the DEC, how can people get involved, not just from a volunteer standpoint, but also in the membership?
Yeah, good question. So you've been to my events. I've got a standard spiel at the very beginning. I'm like, let me welcome our DEC members. If you're not a DEC member yet, let me convince you. Your next job, prospect, client, maybe even best friend is right here in this room. If you want to get involved, just join the club and great things happen. So it's funny because I have people repeat that to me now because they say to me,
I was going to try.
They say to me, I did, by coming to the DEC, becoming a member, I did gain a prospect. I did gain a client. I did get a new job. I do have a best friend now. And all those things have happened. And like I said earlier, I can give you a million stories of all of those things, person by person.
And it's amazing going to the events because you have like a reception hour before the actual events, and who you see there, you're like, oh, hey, insert name, like, how have you been? And then just, it's not forced networking, but everyone's there for the same purpose. Like, hey, what do you do? The business card exchange. It's a very focused time when you can really network, and then you share a table with someone, and it's just casual conversations over a lunch, and great lunches as well, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Good food.
So we switched a couple of years ago. It used to be the heavy meal at lunch because that's just kind of the way that everybody did things. Yeah. And so you're sitting there, you're eating mashed potatoes and gravy and green beans and a roll and the heavy stuff and a big hunk of chicken or a hunk of pot roast and a dessert and a coffee, and we're standing up there, I'm introducing the speaker and I'm watching people heads nodding off. I'm like, this is not how people eat lunch. So we literally have switched to salad with chicken on top, and people love it, and we've never got one complaint about it. It's more like how people eat these.
So pasta's out the door.
No, we're gone.
It's done with that.
I just got lunch yesterday with a business partner, same idea, networking partner. And they're like, well, our prime rib, the meat's kind of marbled. Like, and we're both like, yeah, we're not getting this for lunch, just so you know. I'm like, the clam chowder is amazing here. It's like, no, that's what he told me.
Yeah.
Like, I'll get a salad, please. Because, yeah, you're just going to sleep the afternoon.
Yeah,
you want the events to be exciting, and then it's like, wow, this crowd's really quiet. Like, you guys don't seem very excited.
The post-lunch food coma.
I'm getting a weird read in this crowd right now. Who wants coffee? So also within this Cashflow Chronicles tool, we want to know you as a person and some unique story you have outside of the DEC. We were talking briefly about the Spotify where Cashflow Chronicles is. What would you say is your Spotify age if you had to guess, Brad?
So I started listening to a little bit more classic rock stuff. So this year, right? It's just this year. So I think it's probably going to be in the 60s and 70s, but it may get pulled down more because of my 5-year-old and the stuff we listen to. So maybe 50. I'll probably lean more on 60s. That's my guess.
My goal is to be younger. So I did mine with my fiance, and she's just like, oh, I'm so excited to see what your top artist is and all these things. And it pulled up all these like sleep music things. And I'm like, why is this pulling all like these sleep? Because I'll go to bed, listen to music, whatever. Like my top 7 artists were these people I'd never heard of before. And then below, it's like your average age is 21. Because of like the Warped Tour things, they try to relive that period. When I'm at the gym, I'm like, let's just zone out and be young again. How about you, Steve?
Well, I was really excited. So this is the first year that, of course, Spotify is doing your listening age. I have a very eclectic list of music, and I pride myself on that. In fact, I love it when I'm with friends. Like, whose playlist is it? It's mine. So I've got a lot of hip hop stuff, a lot of R&B stuff. I've got a lot of 60s stuff. It's very, country, everything. I love all kinds of music. And so I was excited. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to be so hip and cool. I bet my listening age is going to be in the 30s. I punch it up and it says my listening age is 72. I'm like, how is this 72? I guess I listened to a lot of Beatles. I'm a Beatles fan. And it said you listen to a lot of late 60s stuff and a lot of Motown stuff this year. So I was kind of disappointed in that.
It's like, oh man.
And it said I listened to my top most listened to song was Here Comes the Sun by the Beatles, which is a great tune. I don't remember listening to it one time, but it said that's the one I punched up the most.
It's funny, your habits you have that are just part of your routine that you don't even think about. It's nice to be accountable to that too. You ever watched Across the Universe?
No.
You have to watch it.
Oh, the movie about, yes,
Yeah.
I did see that, yes.
Great movie.
Yes,
If you love
yes.
the Beatles, you just
Yes.
fall in love
I
with the
did
Beatles
see
more.
that movie, yes.
I tried to get her to watch it, and she's
Yeah.
like, I don't like the Beatles. I'm like, but this is going to make you love the Beatles.
Yeah,
Because
Yeah.
when you watch those older movies, it's like a mindset. They were going to be really drawn out to get a lead, of character development. So yeah, it's a different mindset. Like I watched White Christmas. I'm like, where is this going? Where's this going? And then it all hits at once.
I don't know if the DSO is doing it this year, but if they ever bring it back, they do a Home Alone. They play the movie on the screen, but the DSO orchestra is on stage playing the music along with they're playing the score along with the music. So all the background music you would see if you're watching the movie is muted on screen, and it's live.
That's cool.
By the DS. It's very cool. It's really cool.
I just wrote that down because I'm going to buy tickets as soon as I can find them.
Yeah, maybe now. I don't know. You'd have to look, but it's really cool.
For anyone that hasn't been to Detroit in the last 5 years, what would you tell them?
You're missing out on one of the coolest vibes in any city. Yeah, there's some fantastic cities all over the U.S. My daughter lives in New York. I love going to New York City. But Detroit's just got its own vibe, and when you know it, you know it. And I will take you back to when I first started at the DEC. So remember I said previously, I'd been all over the U.S. at my old job in every major city. So I was excited when I got a job that would take me into downtown Detroit. I'd never worked in downtown Detroit before. And I'll never forget the very first day, I took a lunch break. I'm like, I'm gonna walk around and kind of get to know the surroundings and grab a sandwich or something like that. And I walked outside and I looked to the right and I looked to the left. I'm like, I don't see anybody else on the sidewalks. And so I walked a couple blocks around. The only thing that was open was a Subway, and there was nobody in it. And I'm like, what in the heck did I get myself into here? And I walked out, first day, 5 o'clock, I'm done, see you later, I'm stressed out. I walk out, I didn't even have to look both ways to cross the street. I'm like, holy moly, there's nobody
It
here.
was a different time.
Yeah.
I agree. I was down there,
Yeah.
at the same time
Yeah.
in the early 2000s, and it's like there weren't a lot of restaurants. Not a lot of people were working downtown. And then fast forward, Quicken comes in downtown. Blue Cross Blue Shield comes in downtown. My commute from Livonia was only 25 minutes from door to desk. You add those companies in,
Yeah.
now restaurants are coming in. It was taking me 45 minutes to get in. So there was more people, but I agree.
Yeah.
Ghost town, and now it's just absolutely vibrant.
And I
There's
love
so many
going down every day.
choices.
I go on the weekends. I go to Eastern Market on Saturdays.
So
I shout out to Jamie Dimon and Mike Duggan, who's just at an event.
Yeah.
I was watching a CNN panel. They were both in New York together talking about the model to grow a city. And they asked Jamie Dimon, like, because obviously he's in New York with Zoran Mandami, like, well, what's your opinion? He's like, talk to Mike. Like,
What a compliment.
I mean, it's like, I'm just here to get results. Like, I don't want to speak for him, but someone that's just humble and like, listen, we're doing this together. It's not just my way. And you can speak for his event better, but it just seems like he's a real leader can find the best way to get corporate investments.
Well, that's, in my mind, one of his keys over the last 12 years was his collaboration with the business community, and certainly his collaboration with the Detroit City Council. And that's why the room was packed with business leaders. It was quite a tribute to what he has done and how he's worked with the business community over the last 12 years. And when I thanked him at the end of it, I said, you really delivered us all a master class in business leadership.
Yeah, I mean, it's whenever anyone comes to Detroit now from out of town, like, dude, Detroit's amazing. I want to come back. Because you hear these assumptions like, oh, Detroit's Detroit. Like, have you been here recently?
Yeah.
Like, we can have fine dining a whole week everywhere we go, and you're going to love every meal. And I think people from Chicago are coming to start restaurants in Detroit because the vibe is so much more vibrant, like you mentioned. It's just, people are real here as well.
One of my favorite things is whenever there's a national, a sports event that's televised nationally, and they'll come in and out of commercials with drone shots of downtown Detroit, especially at night. I get texts from relatives, friends all over the country going, whoa, Detroit looks amazing. And I love to see those.
Were you involved with the old Hudson building development at all, as far as in the DEC in some facility?
No, we had no involvement with that whatsoever.
Okay.
But I've been there a few times. It's spectacular.
I tell my mom, I'm like, we got to go and just celebrate Christmas. Like, you can go to Chicago, which is a great city in itself, but like, come to downtown Detroit. It's so vibrant. It's almost overwhelming because the day and age of it, there's parking everywhere. And now you're like, where am I going to park?
Yeah, and when you're a few miles away from downtown, you can start to see the downtown skyline. Wow. It stands tall and stands as a brand new landmark, which is really cool view.
Just stands for the new landscape of Detroit.
Yeah.
Detroit 4.0 or whatever you want to say. It's critical. So what do you want the listeners to really learn about you and the DEC, and how can we help overall as a community?
Yeah, thanks. So it's not about me, it's about what I think the DEC does really well, and that is helps to build community. And I'm referencing a New York Times article from back in May called People Want to Belong. And that article argues people need to be in strong communities to flourish, and strong communities also help hold each other to higher standards as well. And so that's one thing that I'm really proud of, the DEC community of 3,000 people. There's some really good people there, and people that want to help. And this is one thing I tell young people all the time, especially, we haven't even talked about our high school and college student program yet, but don't be afraid to ask anybody in this room. The worst they're gonna get is a polite no. Most of the time, they're gonna say, yeah, I'm happy to help you out by doing X, Y, or Z.
So walk me through the Career Readiness Academy and the young professional group within the DEC.
Yeah, so kind of two different conversations, but I'll weave them together. It's really important for the DEC to give a hand up to future generations. We want to be part of the group that helps develop the region's next young leaders, or next leaders, I should say. So let's start with our Young Leader Program. These are members under the age of 39, and they make up 1/3 of our membership today, which is really cool. And they're invited to everything we do, but we also do exclusive Young Leader programming. And an example of that is about once a month we do, I'll call it a lunch and learn. They're late afternoons. Lunch and learn with the successful executives. Get inside the mind of the successful executives, and we go down this executive's career path, and we get some advice about leadership and things like that. And that's a great touch point with CEOs around town that you get to meet and network with and learn from and spend some time with, and that's a fabulous program. So we've got that Young Leader Program, vibrant. One of the things we offer them is an opportunity to volunteer in a mentorship program. So give me a second, I'll get there. So they're mentoring high school and students. We've got a tremendous student outreach program. And the main idea behind that program is at every one of our lunch events where we get these big time speakers, before that networking reception, there's a private student function. So we have 50 high school and college students that get to come into a room and be with the speaker. That doesn't cost them a penny. We get our generous corporate sponsors to pay for their lunch tickets, but they get this private Q&A with the speaker of the day. And I can tell you, when we're saying goodbye to the speaker, especially the national ones who had never been to the DEC before, they're like, this was phenomenal, and my favorite part of the day was spending time with the high school and college students before we got going. So Q&A session there's no media in the room, it's between the students and the speaker of the day. Mayor Duggan just did it. All our presidents that we've had recently have done it. Trump did it, Bush did it, Obama did it, Jamie Dimon did it, all the CEOs do it. It's fabulous. The other thing we do for the high school students is the Career Readiness Academy. That's a 6-month mentorship program where we use teams of our Young Leader volunteers to mentor a group of 10 to 15 high school students in career exploration and career navigation. Stuff they're not getting at home, stuff they're not getting in the school. So half of it is it's a 6-month program, 8 sessions. The first 4 sessions are really about what we just talked about. What's the world of work look like today? What's it going to look like in 5, 7, 10 years? What's your interest now? What might that job look like in 5, 7, 10 years? What about the demand of those jobs in 5, 7? So we help them think critically about that, because most high schoolers don't have any idea what they want to do. So this kind of opens their eyes.
They don't know what's available.
Yeah, they don't even know what's available.
And what's going to be and what's coming. Right?
Exactly.
Okay, I'm going to be in AI. How do I get into it? I'm going to be in coding. I want to be in manufacturing. How do I get into that? If they don't know career paths for what to do, I think that's a great opportunity for you.
And so I've had young people, what do you want? I want to be in business. Okay, there's 16 zillion ways you can go on business. Let's help you narrow that down. I want to go into IT. There's 16 zillion ways you can be in IT. Yeah. I want to work at a bank. Oh, what about working at a bank? No, I don't want to be a teller. No, there's a million jobs. There are amazing jobs being a teller. And by the way, don't overlook skilled trades. Tremendous lifestyle, tremendous demand on those. So first half of the Career Readiness Academy is spent on that. The second half is more of the soft skills. How do you what is networking? How do you network? Why is it important? What's an elevator pitch? Let's help you build your elevator pitch. What's LinkedIn? How do you use it? What are some interview skills? Stuff that they're not learning in school and at home. And so we'll put a team of 3 or 4 of our young leaders together with 10 to 15, the same students over the same 6 months at the same school. But this year we've got 17 different schools participating, 17 teams, teaching the same lesson plan on the same day over 8 different time periods. In fact, session 1 kicks off tomorrow.
So back when I qualified to that age reference, I was involved in both programs, and I was in the CRA. A core lesson that I learned, and we talked about budgeting. It's like, well, what'd you learn? Don't make money. That's what they told me.
Don't have kids is the other.
Because Uncle Sam wants it, right?
Yeah.
But that's the reality. It's like you can't
Yeah.
drive this Corvette and live in this $1 million house. Like, you have to budget appropriately. And I look and reflect. I'm like, man, I really wish I had these skill sets
Exactly.
and the lessons when I was that age, because that's life.
In fact, when we survey the students at the end of the program and ask them which was your favorite session, that one usually comes out number 1, because they're like, oh, I've never really sat down to understand the personal budget and the choices I have to make. Where am I going to live? What car am I going to drive? Am I going to take a vacation to Greece, or am I going to take a vacation to Cedar Point?
Well, we'll just drive there. Come on.
Yeah.
Honey, we got to be tight here. So really, really appreciate you joining us. And DEC does such a great job as far as community engagement. I was really excited to have you join. I know Brad speaks to this as well. You're such a gem in the community, as is your team with the DEC. Truly want to help everybody as best possible. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining.
Thanks for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Really appreciate the time, Steve.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hey, you've made it all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Make sure you subscribe to the Cashflow Chronicles Open Forum newsletter, drop us a like, and follow us on LinkedIn and YouTube.